Hey, gang, and welcome to another Everybody Wants England. We're getting down to the last few weeks of Everybody Wants England. Um, I don't know if it's kind of bittersweet for me. I have loved going through these Robert Englund films, as many as I was able to find and watch. Some of them were great, some of them were, in between, and some of them were pretty bad. But, I wouldn't take it back for anything in the world because this has allowed me to see almost the catalog of Robert England's work up until this point, so I've been appreciative of everything that I've watched, even the bad ones, because a lot of the bad ones, Robert Englund was able to put a little bright spot in there. So tonight I will be talking about the Moleman of Belmont Avenue and Lake Placid, the final chapter, which I didn't even know existed till I was going through Robert Englund's filmography. We are on a combination week 27, week 28, and I believe I have a total of 33 weeks. And you might be thinking, well, Dana, this is not getting to the final weeks. Well, yeah, it is. We're getting down to it's winding down. And then my plans are when Everybody Wants England is completed, I will be starting a Steven Spielberg retrospective. I don't know what it's going to be called, but I'm going to be covering as many Steven Spielberg films as I can. So you can look forward to that coming up soon. Tomorrow night, I'm planning on finally doing the apples and oranges on Night of the Living Dead 90. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. Unfortunately, something has went on uh, the last 2 or 3 weeks that I've tried to do this. And I know that Chris really wants to be on here with me. And, I want him to be on here. So hopefully we'll be able to do that tomorrow night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That will be a live stream. Thursday will be a Seductive Poison, the Resurgence Triple Threat review show. I don't know what movies I'm going to be covering just yet, but I guess it'll be a surprise. Friday will be a pre recorded Terror Time Tea at some point. And also, me and Candace will return at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, and we will be talking more about our favorite horror masks, makeup, and characters. So be sure to tune in for that at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. Also, got a couple of watch alongs coming up this weekend. Clockwork Orange will be the movie for Saturday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday's film will be John Landis's An American Werewolf in London, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to tune in for all of this stuff upcoming for the remainder of the week. So, without further ado, let's get to these movies, shall we? And I will be sure to give my rating on those as well. The Moleman of Belmont Avenue, it is listed as a horror comedy, and I would indeed call it that. I had never heard of this movie before. I had never heard of it. It came out in 2011. Um, I can't really tell you of any well known people other than Robert Englund. And that's probably the people in the horror circles that watch a lot of horror movies would be familiar with Robert Englund. Those of you that are interested enough in watching these Everybody Wants England segments that I've been doing for the past several weeks. But it concerns two brothers who own a pretty much, uh, bargain basement apartment complex. They are stealing electricity from the church. They don't even have enough money to pay for their own electricity. They got to steal it from the church, which is in a nearby building. There's a whole conversation between one of the brothers and the priest at the church about stealing the electricity. But the big thing that's going on in this apartment complex is the pets, dogs and cats and hamsters and a lot of other pets are disappearing. And we discovered that that is due to the Moleman of Belmont Avenue. And the brothers are basically trying to figure out a way to stop the Moleman, including, and I know this sounds gruesome, but they go to the local animal shelter and get a bunch of kittens and puppies and all of that, primarily to use as bait. Um, and I will tell you, if you are, even though it doesn't show it, I was sensitive to it. They forget and leave the kittens in the trunk of a vehicle, and it's a hot day, I believe. So, you know, uh, we don't want to imagine too much about what happens with that. So, just a little word of warning if you are sensitive to those types of things. Um, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't like the innuendos that, of what was happening to the animals. At one point, I was kind of hoping, well, maybe the mole man's taking them down in the basement of this apartment complex and he's not eating them or anything. But that really didn't come to pass. So, if you like these kind of wacky, off the wall uh, movies that have a mixture of horror and comedy, then you're probably going to enjoy this one. There's also a scene where the brothers um, are checking on one of their tenants and find out that one of their tenants has torn a hole in the wall between two apartments. And he's got a bunch of people living with him that he shouldn't have living with him. Uh, and the brothers think they're smoking. One brother in particular thinks he's smoking pot, but it's pot laced with mushrooms, and he has a very psychedelic experience, to say the least. And where's Robert Englund in all this? You may be asking. Robert Englund plays one of the tenants of this apartment building, and he's an older guy, but he has a penchant for evidently kinky sex, and you will see that in a conversation he has with his lady in waiting or whatever you want to call it. I found it very, very amusing. Um, so I would probably give this one again. Sorry, guys and gals, I don't have my halves yet. But I would give this one 3.5 deadites out of 5. I loved Robert Englund's performance in it. He was great. He added a little layer of comedy to the film, and I enjoyed his interactions with the two brothers in the film. And so, yeah, I mean, it's worth a watch. You can watch it on for free on YouTube, and I think most of you will enjoy it, if not all of you. So, the second one I watched, like I said, I didn't even know this movie existed, and it's for free on YouTube as well. And that is Lake Placid, the final chapter from 2012. And I don't even think I've seen Lake Placid. I know what Lake Placid's about, the attacking giant gators, basically. The one drawback I could see with Lake Placid, the final chapter, is that there's a lot of CG in it. And when you've really got these attacking gators up close, it looks really, really fake. And Lake Placid may have been that way as well. I'm just not really sure. I probably need to go back and watch it at this point to see if it's any better, because I would assume that this one is pretty low budget, but it was filmed very well. The acting was decent in it. And then this time around, they have the gators um, surrounded with an electric fence. But as happens in many horror movies, bad things happen, and a bunch of kids, including the sheriff's daughter, end up behind this electric fence at the wrong lake. And this is Lake Placid, or maybe it was called Black Lake. I'm not really sure. But so they're going on a school trip to the lake, and the bus driver is looking at a half naked girl dancing on his cell phone, and he goes inside the electrified fence, and bad things happen involving these gigantic gators. And a lot of chomping going on. Um, this really bitchy girl gets her head bitten off at one point in time in the movie, and I couldn't help myself. I laughed about that, but she had been so bitchy the whole time, and the love interest turns out to be a dick. So um, I'll leave it up to you guys and gals to figure out if he makes it through the film or not. And Robert Englund. Where's Robert Englund in all this? Robert Englund plays a poacher, Jim Bickerman or Bickman. I think it's Jim Bickman. And he's a relative of the family that they tell this story about. And I think what he's wanting to get is some of the gator eggs, and again, I'll leave it up to you guys to figure out whether he makes it out alive with the eggs or not. But his character was kind of half bad and half kind of kooky good, and I enjoy watching Robert Englund do anything. I could watch Robert Englund write out his grocery list for the week, and I would have fun with it. That's how good of an actor this guy is, right? So I'm not going to give it a 5, but I will give this one a good solid 4 deadites out of 5. I thought it was fun. It There's one guy that doesn't get eaten by the gators. He actually gets taken apart by piranhas. So you get to see that in addition to a bunch of gator attacks in this film. So yeah, not neither movie was bad. They were very watchable and entertaining. And I didn't mind at all sitting through them and watching them. And I'll say it again, what doing a pre-recorded video does for me is it allows me to more focus on the films. I'm not feeling rushed that I have to be done with these movies by a certain time, like 8 p.m. Because it's very hard to do that. I must admit, with me having a job and keeping up a household, and I have pets and everything, it's very hard to do that sometimes. And I've cut down on the number of films that I watch for these. Where when I started out doing Everybody One Single, and I was doing 3 films, now I'm trying to cut it down to 2. And that makes it even easier. So I hope that you guys appreciate better attention being paid to the films, and I'm better able to talk about them and not sound like I'm talking out of the side of my mouth or anything like that. So the next 2 movies that I will cover next Tuesday should be Zombie Mutation and Sanitarium. So, and one's from Zombie Mutations from 2012, Sanitarium was from 2013. So be sure to tune in for that next Tuesday. And also be sure to tune in for the things I got coming up for the rest of the week. And so I'm off like a dirty shirt. But before I go, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and let's kick out the jams for Wednesday. Getting ever closer to the weekend. I have Friday off, so I'm looking forward to that. And that is my 11th wedding anniversary. Me and Steve's 11th wedding anniversary. So I'm out of here, folks, and I'll see everybody next time.